Hi, this is Rich Delmo, NFM Lending, and today I'm going to talk about the crash, the old crash, the one from 10 or 12 years ago. Every day lately it seems somebody's talking to me about there's going to be another crash because housing is going up so quickly. And I've been in this business for 18 years and I pay attention to numbers, obviously. So I just want to share some thoughts with people. First thing I'm going to tell you to do is PPAR. There'll be a link at the end of the video. Go to PPAR, go to Market Trends, go to Stats and Facts. I believe it's bottom left, you click, and then bottom left, you click again. And it'll bring up numbers. It's going to tell you how many houses sell every month, how many sold last month, how many sold in the same month of last year, the increase in prices. And what you're going to find is that there is less than a half a month inventory most of the time for a while now. So there's no inventory. That's what's driving prices up so much. So, normally everything is cyclical with an economy. So there's going to be a recession again. There's going to be higher unemployment. There's going to be higher mortgage delinquency, and that will lead to more foreclosures. What I remember from the crash and what I know existed is we had some bad loans back then. So you had everybody was doing adjustable rate mortgage. There was quite a few of the mortgages were adjustable rate mortgages. So those were fine as long as the market was increasing. But as soon as the market slowed down and there's no equity, people can't refinance again. And now they're stuck in a loan that's adjusting and their payment's going to go up. A lot of those people couldn't afford the payment, they walked away. You had stated income loans where people they could say they made $10,000 a month being a store clerk. And the lender would believe it and give them a loan. So you had people buying houses they probably shouldn't have bought to begin with. And so when all this kind of came to a head, you had a higher delinquency rate from that as well on top of the economy, and now you have a higher foreclosure rate and you have more inventory. We had higher rates back then. I think the average mortgage was in the neighborhood, it was in the sixes. And so there were a lot of people, once the economy started getting rough, the government starts buying bonds to get rates down, so to kind of stimulate the economy again. And then so now you have people in higher mortgages that couldn't refinance because they're upside down. And so that led to what they call strategic defaults. Somebody buys a investment property that they can rent out for $1,000 a month and turn a profit. And the guy who's got to get $1,400 a month in rent, his tenant moves into that one, and people just walked away from the houses even though they could afford the mortgage. They didn't want to lose money on it. People owned houses and said, I'm paying $1,400 a month for this one I own that I can't refinance, and I can go rent one for $1,000, I'm walking. So now you had strategic defaults further increasing the inventory. And then, so now the inventory is starting to get big, and now you have companies back then that were over leveraged. So some of these companies were 30, 40 to 1 debt against assets. And so today it's about 10 to 1 with most mortgage lenders. So back then you had companies that were just simply having fire sales because they had to liquidate assets to get some cash coming in to try and stay alive. A lot of them didn't stay alive anyway. So that further increased the inventory. So when this all really kind of started bearing to, say, 2006, 2007 is when it really started getting weird. The media started talking a lot. The government started paying attention in 2008, 2009, I think. You had a lot of inventory to begin with. There was about a 6-month inventory, and then it turned into about a 13-month inventory back then, and that's when the prices just, boom, dropped. So we don't have the bad loans we had back then, so that's a lot of what led to things getting out of control. It's not going to happen to that extent. Most people are in mortgages in the 2s and 3s now, so there is not a more affordable option than the house they already own. Most people have gained a lot of equity in the last few years, so if they do struggle, they can sell their house and not have it go into foreclosure, which avoids the panic that was created. Companies are much, much better off asset-wise than they were back then. The government made sure of that. And then you have, like I said, like a less than a half a month inventory most of the time. So even if you have an uptick in inventory, we're still not going to get anywhere near the 13 months because most of the causes of that catastrophe were straightened out 10 or 12 years ago. So this is just an opinion, but the point I'm trying to make to people is I get a lot of people say in January that were saying I'm going to wait to buy a house because I think it's going to drop. And I had a contract that's being negotiated today for $440,000, and a similar house beginning of the year was like $400,000, and they didn't want to spend that much. So I said, if you don't like 400 grand, you're really not going to like 450. It's probably going to stay like this for a little while. I think it might ease up a little bit, and again, this is just an opinion, but do your own research before you believe somebody who lived through 12 years ago telling you to be afraid to buy a house. I simply do not think it's going to get as rough as it did. Prices will settle out. Right now it's going like this. It's going to calm down. But, your home, you better to own your home than to rent your home. So, Rich Dillman, NFM Lending. If you have any questions on this or anything else, and as usual, we do mortgages, so give us a call if you need one. Have a great day.